Hey people, welcome to the channel. This is going to be a video about physical gold versus IRA gold. What are the differences? What are the pros and cons of each one? And before I go on specifically with this video, I want to make it super clear. I'm not giving any kind of financial advice. I could not possibly advise you financially because I don't know your specific circumstances, your reality, where you're at, what are your options, and so on. You will need to use the information. I will provide information based on my life experience, the things I've researched and studied and learned over the years, a lot of looking into different things that I'll share with that. I'll share that with you. You can use other resources. You can leave questions here. And then it's going to be about you talking with your financial advisor, with your spouse, with your husband, your significant others, and making the best decision for you. If you want to learn more about all of this stuff, you have the option of getting my books as well, which you see there on the back. That's Surviving the Economic Collapse, based on my experience of going through such a thing in Argentina, as well as 3 survival skills. You'll have them in the links below there, available in Amazon. Also in the links there below, you will have the link for Augusta Precious Metals, which is the best rated gold IRA company, and they want to partner with because I believe that they are the best, especially in terms of the customer satisfaction that they have, which is the best in the industry. That's the landing page. If you follow the link there below, that's where you'll go, and you can fill this up. You have the download free guide, and you can talk with the folks from Augusta free of charge. They will tell you more about what all of this is. But really, it is something you need to decide. Is a very personal thing in terms of what you want to do and how much you do of each one. And this is maybe one of the main keys to preparing for financial instability in the future, which is having eggs in different baskets. You have your more traditional assets. You have different assets that you can, place different amounts in, and the more you diversify, and if you do that in a clever manner, the more protected you are. I mean, you could go to Vegas and put everything on 25, right? And you may win a lot, and you can also lose a lot. The more you diversify and the smarter you are about how you diversify, the better protected you are. And there's some assets like gold, which are traditionally the ones that give you the best protection for inflation and loss of value of that fiat currency that we all use. And I know a lot about that because that's what I saw happen as the economy of Argentina collapsed, right? So, okay, so let's start with some of the more common. What is the difference between gold, physical gold, and IRA gold? Where? None in that aspect, because both are physical gold. If you're buying physical gold in a store, you put it in your pocket and you take it back home, that's the physical gold you just bought. If you're investing in your gold IRA, that is also physical gold that you're buying, and it's being stored because that's part of what you're planning for your retirement. Now, because this is a retirement plan that you have, it's not something that you're withdrawing from. It actually has to be your retirement. You cannot tell the IRS that, I bought this amount of gold, but this is for you. No, the IRS demands that gold, that precious metal, is kept by a custodian. That custodian, that company that does this, is the gold IRA like Augusta. That's why it's so important to go with someone you actually trust. Oh, but I want to have it in my own position right now. I don't feel happy having this in a vault. So no, I want to have it home. All right, but in that case, it's not your retirement. It's not a gold IRA, and you won't have the tax advantages of going with a gold IRA. And it's gonna be it's not gonna be where the IRS demands it to be. That's one of the ways in which this works, right? But again, I see the wisdom in having it all. How much you put on each one, that's going to be on you. But I even see the advantage of having a decent amount of fiat currency, actual physical cash for emergencies. That's something we often talk about here all the time. It is going to be maybe one of the more valuable things you have in an emergency. Oh, but it's fiat currency that is worth nothing. It's a piece of paper. Agreed. But it's still one of the tools that gives you some great options in terms of immediate liquidity when you need it in an emergency, right? And this is where maybe we we segue into the idea of emergencies, of when you have to go, right? Of when you have to leave for whatever reason. And I have a bag back there, your go bag. That would be one of the traditional things. Your bag out bag, your go bag. And this is something we've talked about many times. What is it that you can actually physically pick up and leave with, right? And here's where you have some advantages instead in your gold IRA. The advantage of having physical immediate possession of gold in your very own hand right now, or amount of cash that you have, is you put it in a bug out bag, and if you have to go, you take it with you, right? On the other hand, if that is something that's going to be affected by someone that break into your house, right? If you have X amount of cash, that's why you don't have all of your money in cash stored in your home, because if someone breaks in, you lose it all. It's great to have that cash. It's great to have that precious metal in your house. If something happens, well, it's going to be all on you as well. How is it that you keep it safe? What is it you do? And talking from things I've seen, people have lost everything in the past because of break-ins. Something that happened in Argentina to actually a person that I know. He had gold, and people broke into his house when he was hospitalized during the worst of the collapse. They even stole the toilets from his house. They broke all the walls looking for anything that they could find, and they left nothing. They took all the gold. They took all of everything. Everything was taken. And you have examples like natural disasters. It could be losing it to water, fires. So the idea of diversifying and having assets in different places, even physically at times, that is a massive advantage on its own. And again, if it's going to be a gold IRA, there's not an option. The IRS does not allow you to have immediate possession of that. You will need a custodian, because if not a gold IRA, not the tax benefits of saving for it, and so on. One thing that a lot of people that talk about these things and theorize and discuss and do YouTube videos about, but haven't actually done it, is that precious metals, they get heavy. And silver in particular gets quite a bit heavy. I've gone through this. When I left Argentina myself, I had a bit of precious metals of my own, and that was interesting to... not massive amounts of, not huge fortunes of anything like that, but it was noticeable, and it will surprise you. Usually when you look in the prepper and survival community, people start buying a little bit of silver here and there, and then a little bit more, and a little bit more, and eventually you end up with several pounds of silver, which is not what you want to have. And that is when you really appreciate gold for how light it is. Yes, I mean, it is... Sure, it is physically lighter, but also the amount of stored wealth is a lot more compact, right? So yeah, gold is actually physically heavier than silver, but in terms of the stored wealth, it is a lot better to have the light weight of gold than X amount of pounds in silver, because you just went heavy in silver. So making that perfectly clear, both are physical. It's just that one, being your retirement saving, is going to be kept in a vault by a trusted custodian approved by the IRS that you chose yourself. I suggest you go with the guys from Augusta. They seem to be the best one at these things, and definitely ones with the happiest customers in the business. What is that you have to buy? Well, it's not going to be anything. When you go into a store and you buy any bit of silver or gold that you want, you can buy whatever. When it comes down to a gold IRA, it has to be something that the IRS approves of. And it's usually going to be, I don't know exactly all of the options. It's mostly likely going to be in your best interest to go mostly with eagles, silver and gold eagles, which is the one... It's not only most recognized in the United States, maybe the most recognized all over the world. And I'm talking about as a non-American. I would just walk into any store in Argentina, and you can buy and you can sell silver and gold eagles just as easily, because it's extremely recognized form of precious metals, and that's usually what you want to go for the most. If you actually want to go and check your physical gold IRA, you can actually get an appointment. You set a date, you go to the vault where it's being kept, and you see whatever it is that you have, that you bought, right? That's something you can actually do. That's pretty cool. That's interesting as well. In terms of one of the things you want to be very careful, because I'm thinking now, remembering the things I've gone through in terms of stores and coins, be extremely careful with numismatics. One of the huge advantages of a gold IRA is that you're not going to get tricked. You're not going to be scammed with, oh, this is actually gold, this is actually silver. And unless you know what you're looking at, especially these days, there is a good chance that what you have is either not the metal you thought you were buying, or it has a piece of something else on the inside, or there's something, I mean, there's junk silver being sold in AliExpress that would trick most people. I actually bought it, so as to it's not illegal or anything like that. It's like an old fake replica a coin, right? Well, I don't know. Is it? No, I don't think it is. Well, it's sold in AliExpress, right? In these Chinese places. But that's something that people will for sure be tricked if you don't know very well what you're looking at. So that's something you avoid in terms of risk getting scammed. And one of the scams you definitely want to be very careful with is numismatics. There's nothing not wrong with numismatics if you're just collecting and you like it. I'm talking about it because I see it right now. That bag there has old Switzerland currency, which is like 90% silver or something like that. But then on the back, that book over there has a bunch of numismatic coins, right? It's not saving in precious metals, it's numismatic. And there's been the case about many scams out there of lying and tricking people into you're saving. No, that's not what the IRS does. That's not a gold IRA of any kind. That is just something you want to stay the heck away from. You're not saving in any retirement in numismatics, all right? It's great if you like collecting coins. I like coins. I collect them, but I have no doubt and no fantasy about what actually is storing precious metals for saving a certain amount of wealth that you want to keep in precious metals, and the extremely unstable and dynamic world of numismatic coins, where the grading and marking and this or that changes value all the time, and there's not there's no market, there's not fixed market for it in terms of international trade of numismatic coins, of old Morgans and whatnot. Okay, so be very clear about that. Guys, that's basically gonna be it. You have the advantage of saving for a retirement fund with the tax benefits of it. You have the advantage of counting on that eventually, and again, diversify. Have a little bit of everything, right? How much you go into each one, super personal, depends on your finances and what you feel more comfortable and happier with, right? Just make a decision that works best for you, but it's going to be about that. It's going to be about having assets, traditional assets, safer assets, traditionally safe assets for inflation, which is what we're talking about here, and so on. If you want to learn more about all this stuff, the channel is full of information. I'll leave the link there. I'll leave the subscribe button about there. I'll leave a link about over here too, somewhere around here, if you want to learn more about this stuff. And if you have any questions, if you'd like me to address any specific topics, more than welcome. Leave your comments and questions in the links there below. See you next time. Take care.